What's going on, everyone? If you haven't seen the top 10 heart characters, the recent top 10 heart characters, you go check that out. I will try to link it in the description. Because this is gonna be kind of spoiling it for that. It's actually it's finished export. I'm finishing exporting it right now. You can see at the bottom of the screen. But yeah, if you haven't seen that, go watch that first because this is gonna spoil that. That said, let's begin. This top 10 list was it was a close call. It's actually the first time I make a top 10 list, and I feel like all the characters on the list are still very usable, like top tier usable. Because it starts with Toshiro, and that's saying something. But yeah, because all the other lists, it either starts with, well, the older list started with, kind of older characters. These newer lists, there are some characters they're still usable, but their stats are a little bit, they're not that great. But this one, it was like all top tier characters, and a lot of them were really close. Actually, starting with number 10, it was really close because Toshiro almost didn't make it. It was going to be either Toshiro or Ukiura, but I ended up going with Toshiro because of his, first of all, his stats are higher. Second of all, he has freezing and debilitator on everything, which was great. And like at that point, you're probably thinking, why would you choose Ukiura then? It's because, well, Toshiro's stats are higher. They're only a little bit higher. You can see his attack's a little bit higher. His defense is higher, but, point-wise, with defense it counts. SP is about 17 points higher, but the reason he almost made it is because Ukiura has three strong attacks that are, damage strong attacks, whereas Toshiro really only has two. His Vortex move is useful for making, for freezing, but it doesn't really do that much damage. Still, though, the Frenzy, they both have Frenzy, but the Freezing and Debilitator kind of beat out Ukiura for number 10. Still, though, from being 4 last time to number 10, like, Heart got increased a lot. And a lot of times people think, oh, character's in number 10, oh, that means he sucks because he only made it at number 10. No, not at all. This character's still a top tier character. It's just, there are so many good characters. It doesn't mean anything like that. These characters that make it on the top 10, it's not just because they made it at 10 doesn't mean they suck. They're still really good. And that's where Tsukishima comes in, because Tsukishima actually has a bigger leap than Toshiro and bigger leap than any other character I've done so far. He went from being number 2 last time to number 9, which is a huge leap. And I'll get to why number 3 last time is higher on the list than he is right now later. But yeah, he actually made it to number 9. He doesn't have Frenzy, which sucks, but he still deals a heavy amount of damage. His Soul Trait works really well with his healing, which his healing actually does a lot of damage. I can get it up to like 6,000 in some damage, 10,000 sometimes. I think I've done it. And it's a healing move. Healing should not be doing that much damage, but still, this character is incredibly strong. Still, probably one of my favorite specials in the game. This guy is just insane. I still get happy every time I see him. I'm glad a lot of people have him now because more healers get to be in the runs. But yeah, from number 2 to number 9 is kind of a big leap. Okay, this was another one that was pretty close. Jushiro and Stark, because they're so similar. And at first glance, Jushiro actually seems better. But I'm going to say Stark's actually better because of his Nat link. His Nat, because we both have the same Nat link, his Nat string. Jushiro can paralyze, except he doesn't have Debilitator, so it's okay, but like it doesn't really paralyze for long enough to be viable. If he had Debilitator, it'd be one thing, but he doesn't, so yeah. Other than that, I think Stark's, and I guess I'll knock these both out of the way right now. Stark's stats are overall better. Like, his defense is better, his attack is better, stamina is better. Both their SP sucks. His SP is lower, but in this case, SP doesn't really matter. Especially because Jushiro has a Vortex move, and they don't do that much damage. His Vortex move is great, though. This character has, like, a huge Vortex move, and it lasts a decent amount of time, and it's only a 24-second cooldown. That said, he has 2 attacks that are 24-second cooldowns, but, it's worth it to have the... It's worth it to have that long Vortex. But the reason he didn't make it above Stark, and like I said, these are all great characters. This character's amazing. But his nat string is range, which is nice, but the third one's kind of split. And it's, over time, Stark just does more damage. Even though you have to be close up, his string is super fast. And it gets faster with Adrenaline at 20. His range is okay. His range is good. It's 20 range. But his just attack string is just insane. Like you can see here, he has one extra attack. And although I think one of them is split into two, but they're still fast enough to still count. And then he has the boost on the last one. He also doesn't have two 24-second cooldown moves, which, not a vortex, but still, it's still good. His strong attack 3. His strong attack 3 is actually very interesting because it hits in 2 waves, and he kind of steps forward when he does it. Like dashes forward when he does it, so it's almost like it hits 2 full screens. Like full screen, the first wave hits 1 full screen, then he moves to the next side, and then it hits the other. It's really weird. You kind of have to take a look at it, his gameplay. But yeah, it's a very long-reaching move. That said, these guys aren't strong attacks isn't when these guys shine. It's really NAD, and yeah, their NAD is just really great. His in particular is pretty good. I still wish I had him. Then it was Gin, previous number 3. Gin made it to number 3 in the last list, right after Toshiro and right before Tsukishima. The reason he's above Tsukishima this time is because when the boost happened, when the game got updated and everybody their mags got increased and everything, he was affected a lot. He went from having 100 mag on his, and for those of you who don't know what mag is magnification. Yeah, he's a magnet. No, it's magnification. It went from being 100 to 120 on his strong attacks. What that means is it's almost as if he got an extra 20 damage link, strong attack damage link. That's basically what it is. In the past, most of the mid-month characters, which is what Gin was, most of the mid-month characters had 100 mag on their strong attacks, and most of the end of the month characters had 120, which means for a while the end of the month characters had an advantage over mid-month characters because they had an extra 20% damage on their strong attacks, and a lot of people didn't know that, but yeah, they fixed that in an update about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. It's been about 2 months now. They fixed it in an update where they took every character and they basically just made their strong attacks 120, which significantly boosted this guy because he has Frenzy. So that's 120 twice. So that's an extra 20% hitting twice. So, 40% more damage, or, however you want to call that. And yeah, that's really the only thing that held him back last time. But they fixed that. They also, last time I remember his special wasn't full screen. This time it is. At least that's what it says here. His special also got a boost. It went from like being 120 to 150 mag, which is great. But yeah, I could have sworn it wasn't full screen last time. It is now. I did put that in the video, in the top 10 video, but then I cut it because I wasn't sure if it just didn't say it or if it was true that it didn't. But I'm pretty sure it wasn't full screen before the update, and now it is. And the damage increased a lot more too, because it wasn't at over 6k. But still, yeah, Gin is amazing. Definitely got a really good boost in the last update, and that's what made him here. Still though, Nell is better, and I know people are gonna be upset. Why is Nell better? Gin's got, poison on everything and debilitator, which is true. It's nice, but Nell's a little bit broken herself because, first of all, her SP's higher. Pretty sure her attack's a little bit higher, but her SP is a decent amount higher. Plus she's got Frenzy and a boosted recharge link, and that is where the magic lies because of this. Her strong attack 2 is a vortex move that doesn't do, obviously vortex moves do damage in time, but it also has a chance of inflicting burn, which each of those hits, which is nice. And while she doesn't have debilitator, she does have an animation. Her strong attack 2 vortex, the animation, as long as you don't interrupt it, because you can use the vortex move and dash out of the way and continue fighting while the vortex move continues. But if you don't interrupt the animation, you get about 3 seconds of basically immunity, where you're immune from damage. And this is you can use this in extreme co-op or inherited zones. I have done it many times in extreme co-op and inherited zones, where there's the boss. You know how they basically go to kill, the instant kill move, and I just use that, and then I have plenty of time for them to activate the instant kill move, but I'm totally fine. So it's like an immortality. I call it immortality frames, iframes. Well, I took it from Hikari, who calls it that. But yeah, so because of that recharge link, you can basically do this every 4 seconds because the animation takes about 3 to 4 seconds to complete. So you have basically the 3 or 4 second animation. Use your other strong attacks, and then you get your vortex move back. Use it again, then use a strong attack. It's like a cycle of immortality with her, which is really broken. She's a character. I know a lot of characters, and a lot of you know this, where if they get attacked and you use a strong attack, you don't get hit. This is basically like that, except the whole thing takes like 3 or 4 seconds, which is really nice, and that recharge link makes you be able to do that over and over and over again. So yeah, that's why this character is so OP. In addition to that, she also does a lot of damage. I mean, she's got a really high SP and frenzy. So not only is she immortal for a lot of the run, her other attacks do a lot of damage as well. So that's why she's a buff gain. Plus, recharge characters recently have been killing it, and Renji is one of them. In fact, Renji was actually close to being, I don't want to say close to being number 1, because the other characters are better, but it was still like, he's up there. He's really up there. He's a recharge character, and his range on his moves are great. We finally get a Renji whose normal attack actually uses the power of his sword, which is like, it stretches. I think the last thing on his normal attack string makes the sword stretch and gives it a little extra range. But yeah, the reason he made it so higher than everybody else up here is because of this. The strong attack recharge is great, but it's that charge move. By itself, it does 120 mag, which is just a normal strong attack 3. But when you charge it, it's 240. It doubles, and it's great. So yeah, this character's up there. He may look kind of dumb. I guess that's what throws people off, but this Renji is really, really strong. He doesn't have the immortality that Nell has, but he has better damage, and that's why he's so much higher. Or not, the next one up on the list. But still, his damage is way better than Nell's, I think. He just doesn't have the iframes. This is where it started to get tricky, and a lot of people are going to comment on this. I can already feel it, because this was a tough one. It's Yoruichi, Ryuken, and Ichigo. Those 3 were... Okay, first of all, let me explain why Ichigo's number 1. The reason Ichigo's number 1 is because recently the meta has moved more toward high SP frenzy characters, which is what he is. In fact, most of these characters are actually high SP characters. That's why this list has some NAT characters, but the reason they're on here is because their NAT is so impressive. Like Jushiro with a huge attack, Stark with a really fast attack, and I'll get to these 2 here in a bit. But this is why this guy was number 1. It's because of his recharge link boosted. First of all, boosted recharge link. Second highest SP in the game. Pretty good defense. His attack for being a high SP character is actually not really high, but higher than most. If you take a look at this, most characters with high SPs, their attack are like, okay. Shunsui's attack is the highest for being an SP character at 646. Then it's the new Soifon that came out, the Lost Agent Soifon at 645, 1 point below that. And then it's this Ichigo. So his attack's already good. And then it gets a plus 30 bruiser. But you really don't use his attack because his SP is so high. He's got recharge link, boosted recharge link. And his strong attacks range is just insane, especially strong attack 3 that bleeds over the screen. It's like a full screen move, but you can tell it goes past the screen. It's incredibly incredible range. His strong attack 1 already has great range. His strong attack 2, it's pretty much like, I want to say has better range than Ginjo's strong attack 3. And which is very similar to his strong attack 1. I want to say Ginjo's strong attack 3 has better range than his strong attack 1, but they're very similar, like move-wise. Still though, this character is number 1. But it was very close with these guys because especially Ryuken and Yoruichi. Oh man, that was a decision I had to really carefully think about because, and I'm gonna get a lot of I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this too. But Ryuken has a crazy plus 50 bruiser. The only recent character I can think of that has a plus 50 bruiser is Ganryu, who just came out. But he has a strong attack damage. And here's the thing with Ryuken, because I know people are going to be like, oh, he has the damage reduction and the highest attack. Yeah, but you can really only take advantage of one of these at a time for the time being. For example, if you get him if you make him a damage reduction character, then you have plus 80 damage reduction, but this is it. Your attack is only increased by the accessories, which, you know, anyone can get accessories, but it's only increased by the 50 bruiser and your only attack, which is good, really good that he has that plus 50 bruiser, but that's all the boost you get. You have damage reduction, but that's it. If you go the other route, then you get the plus 50 bruiser, you get the attack, and you get all the other ones, but you only have the plus 20 damage reduction, and his defense is poor. In fact, I checked, and a lot of these characters, a lot of OG characters have a defense that's higher than his. And I know a lot of people don't care for defense, as well they shouldn't, because it's not really, you know, it's not great. But, what is it, 620? Let's see, I think it was 325, right? There we go. I passed it. Yeah, all these characters have higher defense. You can see a lot of OG characters. So yeah, you can really only have it one way or another. He does have a 160 mag strong attack 3, which is very rare. Not a lot of characters have a 160 mag strong attack. He has one, but it's kind of wasted on him just because of his SP being so low, and he doesn't have Frenzy. There are very few characters with 160 mag and Frenzy. In fact, there's only like 3 of them or 4 of them. But while it is a little bit useful, it's kind of wasted on him, as well as his other strong attacks. The paralysis probably isn't going to hit. It's only going to hit once, and on that once, you got a 2% chance. So really, this is kind of discounted. His last string on his normal attack is what is really impressive, because unlike Jushiro, that his last string is split, and a lot of other characters whose last string is split, kind of like Stark and a lot of other ranged characters whose the last attack on the string is kind of split damage, but it's a wider area. One of those being Byakuya as well. I think the Blood War Byakuya has that as well. His doesn't do that. His does normal attack damage for each of those attacks. So if all 3 hit, they hit with a 360 mag, which is crazy. But the chances of them hitting one character is unlikely, unless the character is a really huge character, which there's, you know, very few events that we get very huge characters. But still, very impressive. Yoruichi, though, God, this was so close. Like I said, this was really close. First of all, she doesn't have the black defense that he has. It's still low, but it's not that low. Not as low as Ryuken. She has a plus 40 bruiser, which is 10 less than his, but she has a boosted normal attack link. And the reason she's higher is because of this. This is a crazy combo. Especially on her she has the long stride flash step. It's kind of ridiculous. Because you can inflict paralysis, you can go somewhere else on the screen and inflict paralysis, and because it's debilitated, you can just go back and kill everything. And if that's not the way you want to play it, you can just use it and use your normal attack while everybody else is getting hit and they're unable to hit you, and you win that way. It's a crazy combo with the debilitating vortex paralysis. It's really insane. And the fact, normally I prefer vortexes that are stationary, that don't move, kind of like Jushiro's, but in this case, you know, this is the exception because this combo is just insanely powerful. Plus, her Nat string is really fast. It is really fast, and she's got the boost on herself. It's just a great combo. So that's why she made it higher. It's actually as simple as damage. Her damage is just better. Unless the last attack on Ryugen's string hits one character, but that's very unlikely. But yeah, her damage is just better, even though he does have 2 points higher attack. She has the better link and everything else. And the paralysis debilitating vortex, it's too great to pass up. Like I said, Ichigo's at number 1. I know I already talked about this, but he's at number 1 because right now the current meta is high SP characters, high SP frenzy characters, and he can just clear a room faster than the other guys. He can just clear the room faster than Ryugen and Yoruichi because it's a recharge character, and it's one of those characters that's on top simply because of the damage output. Kind of like Fullbring Ichigo was on top, even though there were some other characters that were a little bit more unique. But Ichigo's damage output was just too great to pass up. He's on a similar level. He's on top because his moves and his damage output, even though they don't have any crazy status elements or vortexes or anything like that, it's just a crazy amount of damage in a short amount of time, and it's just fast. It's simple, but it's strong. So that's why he's at number 1. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with these lists. A lot of people always disagree with these lists. But I can't do anything to change your mind if, you know, it's what it is. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the top 10. I will have the top 10 green, top 10 tech next week. I purposely waited to do that one last because I know green's been shafted lately, that they haven't had a lot of new characters. We've had like 3 new heart characters in like the last month or so, whereas green we've only really had 1. And I have a feeling we're gonna get another tech at the end of the month. So that's why I waited, kind of to see if I can change the list up a little bit better than it is right now. But yeah, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.